Woosah. Let me breathe first.
It's not that deep. It's not that deep.
All right, let's do it. All right. Welcome back to the BTT podcast. My name is Bishop.
And my name is Reggie.
All right. Today we have a good topic. Today, we're really just going to kind of jump into it. So the name of the topic is going to be, how do we attack our training splits, or how do we create our training splits? Either variation.
Yeah, either variation.
Either works.
Same thing, same difference. Tomato, tomato.
Yeah. All right. And with that, Reggie?
All right, cue that intro.
And welcome back. So again, the name of the topic is, how do we attack our training splits? And so Reggie, actually before we even get into the topic, it's been like what? It's been like 2-3 weeks, right? Again?
Yeah, because last we had a guest, Art. Watch that episode. It was a good episode.
Great episode.
Yeah, the mind of a trainer. It was actually like pretty enlightening, because typically, like a lot of times, we talk to the gym goers. We never talk to the people who facilitate the training and the exercises at the gym. So, he had a different mindset. I like that.
Yeah. And I liked, and with somebody like me and like with the average trainer, I'm like, get away from me. Art is like a dope guy, and he really cares about the people that he works with, which I think, obviously you do it for money, but then you have to have that level of care if you actually go make changes or help people make changes.
Yeah, because like I see him in the gym, bro. The other day I'm with my wife. We go to the gym, and I see he has like a group of like 7-8 dudes. Everybody's just working out. Like they're going in. I'm like, all right, man, this guy, he's about it. You know what I mean? A lot of times when you go to like an LA Fitness or like a Crunch Fitness or whatever, those trainers are just chilling. They're like laxy daisy. You know what I mean? They're not really doing what they need to do.
Yep, facts.
So that's why I have a negative outlook on all of them.
Usually they're like on their phone, while they're working out. And I'm just like,
dude, that's the thing that kills me, because it's like, I've seen like you're training somebody, and then when you do this and you're on your phone just texting, to me, there's a disconnect there.
Because you're not watching them. You're not actually watching them do their set. You're not actually paying attention, and you're not actually pouring into them. And, it's kind of like,
exactly,
whatever.
And I hate that. Like if you're training somebody, I feel like, you're there. If you look at your cell phone, it's to look up another exercise. Like that's it.
Yeah.
And then we're back at it.
Exactly.
And I think in that episode, there was also something that you had mentioned. You said that you were like, I have difficulty listening to somebody that didn't put in the reps also, or something along those lines.
Yeah. Like if you haven't been through it, or you're not like, I don't know. It's just like anything. If you're not a doctor, you're trying to give me medical advice.
It's like, what are you doing?
Get out of my face.
And that's the thing. It's like when you see trainers, a lot of times it's like, let's say you'll see like an overweight trainer trying to educate somebody on how to lose weight. And I'm like, and maybe that's controversial in and of itself.
Nah, get out my face. It's like, I'm sorry. Get all the way out my face. Like, if we are the same weight, no, there's nothing you can tell me. And I'm of the mind now, like, it's not even on anything cocky. I'm just like, especially after losing like as much weight, I don't need help losing weight. Now it's more about like proper programming, recovery, making sure the nutrition is where it needs to be to get to the ideal physique that I have in mind. And when it starts to get a bit more particular with that. So if you don't look like something that I want to look like, or have like, some of these bodybuilder trainers like that are old school, they've been doing it for a while, maybe that because they know what they're doing, but like any like just random Joe or somebody online saying, oh, you shouldn't eat rice, bruh, you look like how you look.
Bro, I will never forget one time I was in the gym, I was doing pull-ups. And I'm not Mr. Perfect Physique out here. I'm not winning Mr. Olympia, but I'm doing pull-ups. And skinny, scrawny dude that, you saw that like pretty much he was just like a thin dude, not muscular, not even like that weirdly, oddly skinny guy that is super strong. Like he wasn't even that. He just comes up to me to tell me that I'm doing my pull-ups wrong. I'm like, bro, I don't.
What did you say?
I was just like noted. Thank you, because he was saying that essentially, because what I do is when I go down for a pull-up, I focus more on the stretch.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm all the way down with it and then all the way up. Right? He was like, oh, you could get more out of the exercise if you focus like this and you do this. I'm like, whatever, dude. Like, get out of here, bro.
Bro, I had somebody recently was telling me I was doing like half reps and like, all right, so there's a place for all types of training. And I want to say this, like, there are people who, you do negatives. You're focusing on the eccentric, when you're coming down, you're moving slowly, or you are doing pause reps. There are so many different variations to do exercises. And then a lot of times, like when you're doing like the half reps, mostly what the focus is, at least with me, is time under tension. I know it's a half rep. Get out my face.
What exercise was it?
It was a shoulder press.
Oh.
So, but again, like it gets to a point where, because like with my training, like I'll do, obviously you get into like the full reps, full range of motion and stuff like that. But then like, when I'm fatigued and I'm really just trying to see what I can go up into failure. Obviously you get into like, all right, you want to have proper form, but that wasn't the point. Not saying that my form was bad, but it was just like time under tension. How much blood can I get to flow into this muscle, and how exhausted can I, get to the point where I just really couldn't do it anymore. And I guess the whole point is that like before you open your mouth up to give somebody advice, like one, I err on the side of minding my business personally, because like unless somebody is asking me for something, unless it just looks crazy.
You're about to kill yourself, like the other day. All right, and maybe I'm a jerk for this because I just sort of kept my mouth shut, but I saw kids squatting. Right. Mm-hmm. And they were doing pause reps. So actually not pause reps. They were doing seated squats. So like every time they go down, they sit and then they go back up.
Okay.
Right. So there was 2 kids like spotting the kid. Right. Nobody could be behind him because he had the chair behind him or whatever. So both of them were on the sides. He couldn't go up and do the weight anymore. So typically when you're in a squat, everybody, just to let you know, when you're in a squat and you can't lift the weight, you have to bail out. Just jump out of the way. If it crashes down to the ground, so what? There have been instances in which people have squatted down, tried to get underneath the bar and have the bar roll over their head. Now, when you do that, it could sever your spine and you could die immediately. There was somebody that passed. Did you see that video?
I know exactly. It was a young lady, wasn't it? Is that who you're talking about?
There was a young lady who died, and then there was also a young kid, like a young guy that died, in which he had a spotter. Somebody was spotting him. They couldn't get the weight back. And what the spotter did was they tried to lift the weight over him. Now, I saw kids doing this, and I was like, I'm just going to keep my mouth shut. I don't think they're going to learn what I'm trying to tell them. But you guys, if you're squatting, just bail out. Who cares? You're going to look crazy, but at the end of the day, just jump out of it. It's easy to do.
Yeah. Who cares about maybe 5 to 10 seconds of embarrassment? If that, I don't care. I've bailed out plenty of squats, bro, especially 500 plus pounds. I'm getting from, I don't care what, like, I don't care what,
from the weight.
Bro, I'm getting from under this weight. Like I'm not the best bailer, but what I do know to be true is that God forbid, I'm not severing my spine. Like,
exactly.
So here's another point. This is something I was just thinking about. Like when I was bigger, people tend to not do this as much anymore. But when I was bigger, I remember people they would come up to me in the gym and be like, hey, you should do this or X, Y, and Z, and it'll focus on like losing weight or whatever. How do you feel about somebody giving that type of advice to, like, say if it's somebody you don't know? Now it's different if like, hey, y'all, you met them and y'all probably been talking and y'all like, or maybe even asked them, but like, how do you feel about somebody who is giving unsolicited advice about like, oh, hey, maybe you should try doing this or maybe you should do that? How do you personally feel about that?
Keyword unsolicited, get out of my face. I'm sorry. Like, once again, unless I'm about to kill myself, like you don't need to really say anything. Now, if we're working out yeah, I could give you a little tip. Yo, like I like to do it like this because it targets this a little bit better. But I'm never gonna be like, all right, so I see you're lifting weight. I think you should focus on actually cardio so you can lose some fat. Like, like, what are you talking about?
Bro, people used to say, I'm about to start cussing. People used to say stuff like that to me. It was like,
Yo.
well, you don't even know what my goal is. Well, and really wasn't weight loss at the time, although it should have been. But you don't know what my goal is, and two, like you don't even know me. So
You know me.
I have a bit of mixed feelings because I know I personally people now will ask me more so for my advice just because of the experience, and that's cool. But I don't think I've ever walked up to somebody in the gym and ever gave any tip without like us already having like some prior, like there was this kid though in the gym the other day. He asked me for a spot. And so when he was lifting, I saw that he was hitting the top. He was bench pressing, so he was benching, so he was hitting the top of the rack. So I was like, hey, key tip, like when you are benching, make sure you just put, like just something like that. Now that's something I do because I'm like, all right, you are killing your momentum, and that's why the exercise has become harder, and you can't actually, do what you need to do because you keep hitting, and that'll throw an experienced lifter off. But apart from that, bro, like I've never really just been like, I felt like I never looked good enough to give anybody advice. That's one. And then two, no, I err on the side of minding my business. That's
Yeah. So because we're way
yeah.
off here. I know you were about to ask me how I've been living. I've been living good, except, I sprained my wrist. I sprained my right wrist. At first, I thought I had a ganglion cyst, which is like a cyst that grows like on the side right here because this part was like swelling, but then it was like actually really, really painful. And like I couldn't move it. I couldn't even like do any push-up or anything. And I realized I just sprained this junk. So like I think it's like a grade 1 sprain. And I'm not going to go to the doctors. I'm not going to get any imaging because we already talked about the process of that and how much of an issue it is. And they're just simply going to tell me rest and rehab. So what have I been doing? Resting, and I've been rehabbing.
You haven't been benching or anything like that? I'm looking at you like, have you benched?
The thing is, it hurts when I grab the bar like this, or it used to hurt when I grabbed the bar like this, but not oddly enough with these fingers. So like if I pressed anything, I was pressing like this.
Yeah.
Okay. And the thing is, I went much lighter.
Okay.
Okay.
I can't even talk. I do the suicide grip, so I can't even say anything.
So I've been doing some work around. I have for the past couple of days stayed off of it, and it's gotten increasingly better. Cardio. I've been getting steps in. I haven't been running because there's like a wildfire in Canada, so like the smog is absolutely terrible. And other than that, just been chilling, man.
Okay, man.
What about you?
Well, before I hope your wrists, it's always something. Always something. So I hope that improves pretty quickly. I remember you were telling me about it. Two, for me, same kind of variation of thing. I tweak my back.
Of course, because why?
Because why not? Everything is. I've been the smallest I've ever been. Training has been going great.
Of course.
And so I tweaked it on Monday. It was like listen, it's definitely my fault. I came off the weekend from drinking, went to Nashville, so that was dope. And then I went into the gym. I was like, yeah, man, I'm about to do all these squat movements. And after like the fourth or fifth one, yeah, buddy. And you know what I kept doing? I kept working out.
Of course, because once again, why not?
And so then when I got home, yeah, that it set in, and so I've been chilling since. So this is the fourth day. So I'll probably start to ease my way back in tomorrow. Hopefully, I'm fully good by next week. But for the most part, I'm good. Like it's not like I've injured my back enough to know when. Like, all right, like, yeah, now, bro, you have done something that
you need to chill out.
Yeah. So right now, but I am gonna I'm done with like squat movements at least the next like month or so. Like, I do need to like actively recover, but I'm hitting the gym. I'm just not gonna do anything that could put pressure on my lower back.
Okay. All right. So let's jump into this episode. Let's actually attack this topic.
Cool.
So how in the grand scheme of things, how do you create your training splits? Like, let's talk about exercises. Let's talk about body movements. Let's talk about compound lifts, days, all that. Like, how do you determine? First off, let's set this. How many days do you pack into your training split?
I ultimately like to do like in the past, I would do, especially like dickhead past, I would probably do like 6 to 7.
Mm.
Now I'm closer to 5 to 6, more on the 5 side because I have added more recovery days. Just because of, like we've been talking about injury and stuff like that. So how I like to start my training plan or my training split. So let's get into what a training split is. A training split is essentially like how you are divvying up your training or your workouts for the week, like what that will look like. Is it going to be a push pull leg? Is it going to be like straight isolation? And what that means is like, all right, today I'm just going to work strictly chest. Tomorrow I'm going to strictly work legs, and that's quads, hamstrings, calves. Like, so essentially those are the two most basic ways. I actually don't even know if there is another way to create a training split, but those are the two most basic ways I do my training split. I've done both. I've done 4 days on, 3 days off. I've done 3 days on, 4 days off. I've done 5 days on, 2 days off. So I've done a variation of all of those things.
And which ones do you find works best for you? Like,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, like how, like your body responding. Which split works best for you?
Funny enough, the split that I just switched to is actually the split that has, even though I injured myself Monday, but this split is the best. So what my split is now, 3 days on, 1 day off, 2 days on, 1 day off. So, but how that would look for me is like, so the 3 days on, Monday is going to be legs. Tuesday, I'm doing chest. Wednesday, I'm doing back. Thursday, I'm taking off, but it's like an active recovery. So I'm just doing cardio, mobility, calisthenics. But that's an off day for me. Like it's no weights whatsoever. Friday, I'm going to go back into some shoulders. Saturday, I'll do arms. Sunday, active recovery. And I have found that has been super beneficial for me since starting. I'm a lot less sore. And because I'm adding a lot more mobility, I just feel better. So that's where I'm at with that now. Like I love that. I love that split.
The thing about training splits, and I think this is very like a very important thing to add in, is that your life affects how you split up your training, right? So like,
facts.
Explain to our audience, what is it that you do?
What?
For work?
Oh, I work from home.
You work from home?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
that meaning,
mm-hmm.
okay, which I will agree with you before you say it, meaning that because I don't typically get as much movement like in my normal day. And because I typically, like when I'm working, I'm working. Like I'm like 8 hours, I'm locked in. So before and after work is when I do most, if not all of my movement, unless I'm doing like push-ups during the day.
And where does the gym, where is a gym located for you?
Oh, my gym is right next door in my apartment complex.
Exactly.
So
when you're creating a gym split, I think there are certain confounding variables that you need to add in and you need to keep it like accountable for. So if the gym is approximately 2 hours away from you, there's no way you're going to be going there 7 days a week. You can't have a 7-day split.
Especially if you have a family and stuff like that.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
So like, if you're a new father, new mother, whatever, and you need to just get something in, once again, you're not going to be having a 7-day split, a 6-day split. So you might need to account for all that, right? For you, it works out that you're able to do 3 days on, 1 day off, 2 days on, 1 day off. For me, I work nights. So I found it's hard for me to create splits because since my schedule is variable, it's not like I work nights Monday through Friday. I work nights, maybe this week I'm off, next week I'm on 7 days in a row. Right now I'm doing a 10-day work split and it absolutely sucks. But at the end of the day, it's hard to like keep up your training regimen as a result. So I've felt like 4 days a week. That's my thing. My week starts on Monday, ends on Sunday. And for 4 days out of that week, I need to go to the gym.
Okay. Do you add like, I guess my question is, in that 4 day, does that include like the Sunday park day? Is that a part of that or that's outside of?
So the 3 days that I'm off, I'm doing active recovery, as you said, okay. Right? So yeah, I'm going for runs. I'm going for walks. I'm getting my steps in. I'm making sure that I rest. and I'm making sure that I'm eating a well-balanced meal. I avoid vegetables, whatever. That's the thing that I do. Whatever. It's a thing. But anywho, so like it's things like that I focus on. If we're just simply talking about the amount of times you enter the gym or like enter a workout, you have to also take into account what's going on in your life.
Yeah, I agree with that. Before I actually respond, let's rewind this thing back a little bit. What are you talking about? You don't eat vegetable. Are you a child?
No, like the thing is, all right, like let me put it this way. I eat vegetables. I just hate certain vegetables, and like those are the vegetables that everybody considers like super healthy. Like I'm not a fan of. What am I not a fan of? Like I hate cauliflower. Absolutely disgusting.
Very high water content, but go ahead.
Like tell me what are the vegetables, and I'll probably.
All right, so let's spinach.
Love spinach.
Okay, great, because that's like one of the best vegetables you can eat. Broccoli.
I eat broccoli.
Okay, green beans.
Hell no, disgusting.
That's gross. Crazy. Carrots.
You can't. I like to eat carrots like just separately and raw. I don't like to actually eat carrots like mix into anything. Okay, it's disgusting.
All right, celery.
Yeah.
Okay. Where am I? Squash.
Hell no. Zucchini. No. Okay. Eggplant. No.
Cucumbers.
Hell no.
Nah, I ain't gonna hold you. Cucumbers are disgusting to me.
Absolutely.
Like,
pickles. Nasty.
Yeah, I can't do that as well. Oh God.
Yeah, like, and that's the thing. The vegetables that I eat, I will eat a lot of those, like mushrooms, spinach. Like I don't mind eating that stuff.
Yeah.
Variety.
Brussels sprouts.
No.
Oh man, Brussels sprouts are great, bro.
Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting.
That's crazy. What else? Why am I losing my vegetables? What's a root vegetable? Beets.
No. Not eating beets either. but you see, like the thing is, once again, I will eat what I eat, but typically there's like a lot that I avoid. I
would have judged you if you said no spinach, because spinach is like I don't like spinach personally, but difference is that I don't like a lot of stuff. I eat it because it's necessary.
Life is too short.
No,
life is too short.
No. And I'm thinking about fiber, bro.
Yeah, I'd rather just have a fiber gummy or something.
No, bro. No, you.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Bro, as a medical professional, no way. No way. I mean, I know you.
Listen, getting your nutrition from the actual food is much better. Like eating your protein versus taking protein powder, like much better. Like all that. It is. However, listen, I'd rather get it than not get it.
I agree with that. Can you explain? All right, let's talk about that real quick. And then I'm going to go back to what we were talking about. Why is it better to actually take protein, actually get it from a meat like chicken, beef, eggs, or get your fiber from vegetables or berries or whatnot, versus like taking a supplement or drinking a protein shake? Why is that?
To be perfectly honest, when it comes to the supplements, the supplement industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry, right? And that's the thing that pisses me off, because so many people will be like, yo, you can't trust the FDA because of yada, yada, yada. And they're all just out to Western medicine is out to like make money. And I'm like, okay, but the supplement industry isn't. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry. You can make supplements off of whatever. You could say that the protein content is 25 grams, when in actuality, it's like 15. You could add whatever to it. You could add a whole bunch of artificial sweeteners. You could add things that have been outlawed. Like you could do whatever you want. Sure, there are some rules and regulations, but they're pretty lax. So that's all I'm saying. If you eat chicken, a certain amount of chicken will have a certain amount of protein. That protein powder that you have, might not.
The thing is, I agree with what you just said. Like, the funny thing is, I agree because like one, I still don't trust the FDA. I don't. They literally don't even get me started. I just was looking at something that they just didn't approve. I don't trust the FDA as far as I can throw them. So like, that's one. I don't trust the FDA, the American government, whoever. I don't trust them. Like,
because you're paranoid, but
yeah,
go on.
Whatever. But all right, getting back to the point, I do agree with you though, that with these supplements, like you said, I want to say they did this major study, and maybe we should do an episode on this where protein powder had levels of lead that were unhealthy to consume in the way that we take protein powder. So I don't disagree with you, and I don't think that anything that these companies say or anything that these bottles say is actually accurate. So I agree with you.
I mean, listen, if you have no other option,
Yeah, you got to
once again, if you didn't get your daily amount of protein in, sure, take the protein powder. But for the most part, from a reputable source, for the most part, I try to avoid it as much as possible.
Yeah. So what I've started to do, especially with my protein powder, I make sure that it's as best as I can, because again, even with that, it could be a lie, but making sure that it's third party tested and do a bit of research before I put this stuff in my body. Cause I do take protein powder. I take creatine, I take collagen, I take all of that stuff. But I'm not going to sit up here and pretend that all of whatever the label says is exactly what's in the product. That's the thing. I don't believe that. Don't believe that. But like you said a second ago, I just got my blood work back and it was saying that I'm at 200, 250 grams of protein a day. It's that I'm actually not taking enough protein.
You're taking enough protein. Who said that?
Bro, no, actually it's I'm about to show it to you. It was in my blood test. It said that, or it was my urine test that I had. It was actually my levels of protein was actually very low.
First of all, you don't want any protein in your urine.
Well, it wasn't any protein in my urine. So that's why I said I need to let you look at it, because I do not actually remember. So that may not be correct at all.
Because you don't want any protein. If you have protein in your urine, that means that
something's going on with your kidney, correct?
Exactly. Your kidneys are spilling protein, which is one, you're having muscle breakdown, and then your protein is getting spilled out of your urine. So it's you don't want that.
It wasn't that, because it was no red flag. So I can assure you.
Okay.
It wasn't that.
Because it's typically a sign of kidney disease.
Yeah. Okay. No, we don't want that.
Exactly. But getting back on topic, when it comes to training splits, this episode is all over the place, bro. We talked about everything, man. Jesus. Back to training splits. So another thing, after you've worked out the days, typically I like to do a push, pull, legs day. That's just, it's honestly just been my go-to for the past several years. And I know I need to switch it up. But each and every single day, I'm doing a compound movement. And I'm doing one of the big three: a squat, a bench, a deadlift, every single day. And then on the fourth day, I'm not going to lie, bench twice a week. But if you are trying to grow a particular muscle group, let's say you're trying to get a better deadlift, a better squat, throw that in twice a week. On one day, you're probably going to go much lighter. And on your second day, you can go a little heavier, but definitely throw it in twice a week. I try to fit in a bench twice a week still. And that's why my bench has exploded versus my other lifts. When my deadlift was exploding, it was because I was doing it twice a week.
Yeah. I agree with that. And if depending on what my programming is, since my programming really hasn't been dedicated to strength at all, I haven't really been doing much twice a week. I've really been that one day I've been smashing the muscle, just breaking it down, and then on to the next. Now, but what I do sometimes, not even sometimes, what I do in my programming though is that say if I'm working back, I do like to throw in maybe 1 or 2 leg movements into my back, or if I'm doing legs, I like to throw in 1 or 2 back movements. Now, all of this is subjective, I want to say.
You got to go what works best for your body, right? Because some people, they're able to deadlift and squat heavy on the same day.
I used to do that.
Yo, when I'm done deadlifting, I'm checked out for the day. Yeah. I just want to go home, curl up in bed, watch some movies, and just chill.
Yeah.
Same thing for heavy squats, right? Throwing them back to back on the same day, that's killer.
Yeah, it is. It is hard. And it's really mostly what I think it really beats down is your CNS, your central nervous system. It definitely beats it. And sometimes, especially when there's a breakdown with your CNS, as I'm sure you already know, that's how you can be more susceptible to injury. And I know this because I have messed myself up
all
so
the time,
many
bro.
times.
All the time.
This is why I could do something real simple now, and next thing you know, I'm out for a week. But that's why I do my program the way that I do now. I find for me what works the best, especially after kind of going through a lot of different variations. I agree with Reggie. Every day that I go in the gym, I have to have a compound lift. And so this is something I also say, speaking of, if like, say if you're a beginner and you're just starting in the gym and you're like, oh, I don't know what to do. You would just very simply, if you couldn't do anything else, you didn't have enough time, just do your compound lifts, because compound lifts are great because they don't work just one muscle group. They work essentially your entire body for the most part. Like squats and deadlifts, I want to say they work most, if not like, well, they don't work all your muscles in your body, but they work a lot of muscles in your body. That's why it's so taxing to do. And that's why Reggie was talking about, because deadlifts and squat require so much muscle recruitment from your entire body. That's why it's so hard to do. And that's why people tend to not do like legs as much, because legs really are your biggest muscle groups, which is your glutes. So guys, I'm not really sure what's going on with you. You got to work your ass. Like that makes no sense.
Who doesn't work their ass out? Pause. But like, let's talk about that though. Like,
bro, people don't, dudes don't. Like, you never seen like this, like a sect of the internet where guys are like, oh, I don't do that because it's like, yeah.
Nah, that's
ridiculous. Like,
so in every single athletic game, soccer, sport, like any sports, right? Your entire power comes from your torso, your hips, your glutes, your legs. That's where even when you throw a punch, you're not throwing a punch with your upper body.
It's with your
hips.
Yep.
So if you don't have strong glutes, strong legs, like how strong can you truly be? You're only as strong as your weakest link. So if you're avoiding glutes, I mean, that's sort of lame.
Bro, people do that though.
That's
like
lame.
But people do that. Like guys specifically, like, oh, I don't like not working legs, or like, and legs are like the cornerstone of, I think I was just looking at a study, and don't quote me on this, where it's talking about like, if like your leg or your quad, how much muscle you have in your quad or your legs in general can dictate how long you could possibly live, because obviously your legs are your biggest muscle groups in your body. And then going back to your glutes, and I don't think people notice, your glutes are the biggest muscle in your body. So you have to work these things. And like Reggie said, like literally, like when you don't have like good glute work, and which I didn't for a long time, that's how you can get more susceptible to back injuries and lower back injuries as well too, because your glutes become dead and your back has to pick up the slack. But I guess going back to the point, like, you know, you definitely want to make sure that you're working all of your muscle groups as best as you can. And what I would do differently, or what I would tell somebody, especially if you were trying to lose weight, I would definitely, you know, maybe isolation is not the best thing for you.
Yeah, and
maybe
that's
just
the thing.
compounds.
Like sticking to compounds is just the quickest, easiest. It's not easy, but if you are on a time crunch, which a lot of us are, just squats, bench, deadlifts. If you stick to those three things, you're pretty much good. And then throw in an isolation movement, like one or two exercises afterwards, you'll be set for pretty much life.
Yeah.
Because in all honesty, isolation movements, they're easier, they're quicker, they aren't as physically taxing. And you do get a pump, like a greater pump out of things, but you don't recruit as many muscles. So a lot of things will be lacking. Yeah. And once again, you're only as strong as your weakest body part. So
yeah. And then going back to what you just said, like I think compounds are great as well because they burn more calories because they recruit more muscles. And so if your goal is like weight loss, or even if your goal isn't weight loss, it's just like building strength, then you want to get the most bang out of your bulk. Now, again, I think a lot of what we're talking about is like, we've been doing this for a while. And so like, you know, things just come a little differently for us. But if you're just starting, then like, yeah, I like if I was doing a back day or a leg day and I only had time for like 30 minutes, I would either just squat or do some type of like squat movement, you know, like whether it's barbell squats, hack squat, really even Bulgarian. Oh God, I hate Bulgarian squats. Like
Bulgarian. Shout out to all the Bulgarians that I know in my life that have ever created have ever done, and their whole entire society created the Bulgarian split squats. Screw you guys for doing it.
But it's like one of the greatest leg movements.
It's seriously like
ever,
it's such a good movement. And I always feel my legs and my lower body feel so great after I like do it. It's just taxing.
It's so hard. It's hard. Like, and a lot of people can't even do it even without weight. So
because you're working on so many muscles, you're recruiting so many muscles, trying to stabilize your hips to dip low in that position and then also generate force to go in the opposite direction. So it's just like, it's a really great movement. I love it.
Yeah, definitely. And also, I think the last point I was going to bring up, as it relates to that, if you are like, I think there are so many great people that can help you create like a plan for yourself. There are so many resources online. I think depending on what type of person you are, I think that's like the route that you should go. If you don't have a lot of money, or if that is something that you're struggling with, then, you know, using the resources that you have to create a plan, I think is your best goal. But I don't think that you necessarily need anyone. But if you do, then there are resources and options for you to be able to use within your budget, and also within your certain time frame, because I think Reggie spoke to that, and I think that's important too.
Yeah, yeah, you know, just definitely when you're creating your own training split, definitely look at your entire life. That's the first thing you need to look at, because if you can't commit to 7 days a week, don't pick up a program that's going to be 7 days a week. It doesn't make any sense. And then also think about what your body can actually do, because there are beginner programs, there are intermediate programs, and then there's advanced programs. A beginner trying to do an advance, you're not going to get what you need from it. It's you're just not ready for that. An advanced lifter trying to go and do a beginner workout might be good if they're like doing some recomp or maybe just a deload phase. But once again, there's a purpose for it, but you're not going to get what you need from it. You're past that. So there are many different variables you have to look at. And I personally, if I'm a new lifter, I'm not going to buy a program. I'm just not. There's too many free resources out there. And you guys need to stick around for like when we create ours, right?
Plug our free resources.
Yeah, because no,
free.
Real talk. Like on our website, we're going to start introducing some more free resources, new programs that you guys can utilize. You know, things such as that. So, you know, we can really give back to our community and the things that the people that have just been supporting us. So stay tuned for that. Yeah,
definitely, for sure. And I agree with Reggie. Like, I think, like, for me, I'm in a place where if I like, because there's a program that I bought that I'm going to start like soon, but that's only because like I've gotten to a point where I like that I feel like it's more necessary. It's not even necessary. I'm not going to say it's necessary, but I'm just at a point where I am looking for something additional on top of what I already do. So, but like, I definitely agree with Reggie. I don't think you need to buy anything, you know, like, but I think sometimes what the issue is for people is the lack of motivation, which motivation is fleeting. You don't need motivation. You need discipline and consistency. It usually is that. And then sometimes there are people who truly don't know what to do. And I would say, like, listen, you know, start. It's so many resources on YouTube that's free that you can utilize.
And that's the thing. Even like if you're like an experienced lifter, sometimes it's just like, it's fun to introduce new things, right? Like I was stuck in a place where I necessarily I plateaued. So every single time I would go to the gym, it felt like the same thing over and over. I introduced a workout program and I actually started to see growth again. And it's not like I wasn't doing anything before. It's just that like a program really introduced me to like, hey, try this over here. And when I did, once again, my lift started going up. I started feeling motivated to go to the gym. And yeah, motivation is fleeting. It definitely is, but it still got me into the gym.
Yeah.
And it allowed me to have some type of program and some type of mentality to actually want to come back the next day.
Yeah.
So there's always a place for it, regardless of if you're new, you're advanced, you're whatever. Like you should always have a program. You shouldn't just go to the gym just to go to the gym. It's going to get very boring very quick.
Well, not even that. If you don't have a goal, if you don't know what you're doing, you can't track. How do you progressively overload? How do you have goal? Now that's something like, no, that sounds ridiculous to me. People that just go into the gym and just like, what we got today, we're just winging this thing. Like that's great. That's crazy to me. I can't even think in that mind, but that's just me. But that's just because of where I'm at right now. So I'm not saying that anybody is crazy for doing it. It's just crazy to me just because I can't do that. But I was going to speak to something you said, bro.
What's up?
You were talking about like motivation being fleeting, like I said, and I do agree with that. But I think sometimes like when you are experienced and you've done this for a while and you plateau, you do need something new. Like I do agree with that. Like, and again, that's why I started doing like fighting classes. It was something new. It's fun. It's challenging in a very different way. So I agree with you. Like, and I think sometimes like,
I actually started like filming myself And that's what got me back, because it was like, okay, I got to film today. And when I film today, I got to post it. And it's like, nobody cares, right? Yet, like, you've seen somebody squat a million times. Nobody really cares that you're doing this. But it's like, it kept me accountable to myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But bring us home, man. Like, let's end this thing.
All right.
This episode was all over the place.
Oh man, because like I'm thinking like of some topics that we talked about vegetables and we talked about training split.
No, we talked about everything.
All right, so
And there's some gems somewhere in this episode. So,
definitely listen to it though. It's like I'm not like, oh, we just record not to listen to it. But I think if I had to bring us like home and like going back to, I think a lot of what Reggie said is great. I think it really, your training split starts with who you are as an individual and like how you exist in this world with your timing, your family, and things like that. I think knowing your schedule is the first thing. And then, like Reggie said, if you can't dedicate 7 days a week, do not get on a plan, because all you're going to do is get yourself into a place where you never want to go back to the gym. So there's this psychological concept. When you keep saying no over and over again, you keep disappointing yourself, you literally will get your brain used to being disappointed, and that becomes your normal. And so therefore, neuroplasticity, you will train yourself into being this way. So when you're starting a plan, just make sure that you're giving yourself grace. Grace is the word, and giving yourself permission to ease your way into it. If 5 days seems like too crazy, 4 days seem too crazy, do 2 or 3. It's 2 or 3 days that you did not do before. And then gradually, I was telling my wife this recently, like, why are you trying to add all this stuff to your plan when all you need to do right now is stay consistent? Like, why are you doing that?
That's it. Consistency beats everything.
Exactly. So it's like, oh, you want to do this and that. Like, all right, cool. I'm glad you're excited. I love it, actually. I actually love that you're excited. But let's get at least 3 months of consistency under our belt before we try to like add like
this, that, and
Pilates. And I got to talk about Pilates. Oh man, we got to have an episode.
That's going to be another episode. We'll tune into another episode for that one.
All right, but with that being said, just passing over you. What's your final thoughts, man?
Everything you just said. Real talk. I think that, once again, don't pay for a program just yet. If you're starting out, don't pay for a program. I think your best bet is to focus on consistency, figure out things within your life, and then set up your own program by looking at like YouTube University. There's a whole bunch of different educational resources on there. There's so many free things out there. So definitely go that route. And stay tuned for our workout program that we're going to be dropping
for free, by the way,
for free sometime this year. So that's just a plug real quick. And don't forget to follow us on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and wherever you're listening to this, make sure that you rate us on like Apple iTunes. We need to get those ratings up. Okay. Yeah, we need to focus on that. So don't forget to like us and rate us on every single platform you're currently on. And once again, guys, thank you so much for the support. It means absolutely everything.
Yeah, definitely. I think the only thing I got to add to that is, I think we broke 105 subscribers. I want to say. So that's dope. So, and yeah, so we appreciate y'all. Appreciate you for tuning in with us. Leave like, comment, subscribe. Definitely comment, because we definitely are trying to make sure we respond back to everyone. We appreciate you. And with that being said, BTT out.
Peace.